The conversation about the console market is one that I think is very interesting. What I've noticed though lately is the PlayStation fans have increased the personal attacks. And in some cases, yeah, I enjoy the conversation, but they leave context out of things a lot. You see, 2 years ago, Phil Spencer declared that Xbox had lost the console war. I mean, everybody knew this. Xbox consoles have not been selling as well as PlayStation's consoles or Nintendo's consoles. And at the end of the day, it just makes a whole lot of sense that you can say, okay, in this selling each other out of your consoles, Xbox, you're not doing a good job at all. However, the context was in the Activision Blizzard acquisition, of which, if you look at everything in that context, Xbox was planning to do something that would basically, restructure the entire gaming industry. Microsoft had put themselves in a position where they want to now go ahead and spend Sony out of business. So, regardless of the lack of console sales, they're now throwing their weight into the equation. This is very important to note because when you think about it, this comment that I got is actually very interesting. This person said, I enjoy watching Xbox YouTubers embarrass themselves on a daily basis. Interesting. I am not an Xbox YouTuber. I talk about Xbox and PlayStation. I'm a PC player for the most part, and mainly PlayStation on the console side. They said this Sony is a console company. What is Xbox these days? They're also a console company. They got consoles. I mean, as a PC player, I know that they have consoles because when I went to get my PS5, I traveled to a whole different state to get it, and then I got an Xbox so that I could learn about the Xbox ecosystem to be able to discuss about Xbox. And when I placed the order, it shipped and it showed up at my doorstep and it said Xbox on it. Why do Xbox YouTubers compare themselves to Sony? Phil Spender, 2 years ago, Phil said they lost the console war to Sony. That is a reality and that is the fact. Yes, you are correct. However, 2 years ago, it was discovered, or I guess 2 years ago, there was the conversation that was discovered in the FTC trial that Microsoft wanted to outspend Sony out of business. This is where context actually matters. There's a subreddit group that actually are games. They actually put this in the funniest perspective that I've actually seen. They said Xbox, lost the console war. They were ready to spend about $2 billion to crush Sony, but then they abandoned that plan. This is the post here. Someone says, well, we're going to spend $2 to $3 billion to crush Sony, but we abandoned that idea. Instead, we spent $76.2 billion to crush Sony. For those of you that are PlayStation fans, I know you're used to dealing back and forth with Xbox fans and Xbox YouTubers, but you have to understand, man, the Video Game Fight Club channel, I'm on a whole different conversational piece. I am not looking at it with any kind of emotional investment or, platform pride. All I'm here is just to tell what I see and what you see, and just let everybody know that what we see is pointing at this particular reality. That's all. I mean, like, if you were maybe coming after like AMD, oh yeah, you would have to answer to me and many other hardware, YouTube conversationalists. No problem with that. But again, guys, we're talking about AMD-based devices. So to me, I don't see them as one as being superior or not. It's just a box that when you open it, oh crap, it's an AMD device inside of it. So once you understand that I'm agnostic as to, what both of them are doing, it now has to go past the physical console device. And when it comes to the outspending, it appears that that spending proposition is working, and it's working very well for Xbox. I mean, let's go ahead and let's, see this, because this is very interesting and it's very important and it's very good for context. So Xbox loses console war. They're not selling as many consoles as Nintendo. They're not selling as many consoles as PlayStation. So The Verge writes this report. Internal emails, here's the article title. Microsoft exec was ready to go spend Sony out of business to strengthen Xbox. They had actually planned it before they acquired Activision Blizzard. This is what PlayStation came out to say. Oh no, they're trying to spend us out of business. Help us. Don't let them buy Activision. Remember when the crying and the whining was going on? You see, you come out and you act like we did not all see, Jim Ryan fly all over the world and whine and cry to regulators and say, I just want to block your merger. And then eventually, they still acquired the whole thing anyways. Now, internal emails show Microsoft's early thinking on acquisitions to drive Xbox Game Pass growth. They looked at it, they said, man, maybe it might be too much. And then they just went ahead and said, you know what, screw it. Let's do it anyways, and let's just not do it They got the opportunity to buy Activision. Let's go ahead and get on Sony's own turf. And once they did that, man, they did cause an entire rift in the industry. I mean, if you go back and look at, say, tweets from Tom Warren at the time, do you remember? Tom Warren said when he posted this, guy, we got to get the receipts out, man. This is where we got to go. Tom Warren says, Microsoft says Xbox lost the console war. Ahead of the FTC trial today, Microsoft is keen to show Xbox is in third place. So Xbox was literally marketing and singing, we lost the console war, while they had $69 billion in their wallet to go do some damage. So yeah, it is the fact, but it's a fact that played to their advantage to basically switch and flip their position overnight. So it says this: Xbox had 16% share of console sales in 2021 and 21% of the console install base, according to The Verge. So pretty much the intense competition was out there, and people were still saying this. Like this person that posted back in 2023, I still don't understand why so many people are for a company buying their way to the top. The other two companies that are on the top are there because they make good games. Why is it so hard? And Tom Warren checked them and said, you make it sound like Sony doesn't acquire studios too. Interesting. And then he posted an article from their website. Good old Tom. He found a way to get clicks for his own website to basically, hold somebody. Someone said studios, not publishers. If Sony were to buy Ubisoft, then we can talk. All right. Did they not buy Bungie? Get the heck out of here. Did they not buy Psygnosis? Get the heck out of here. So all of this talk about it, this is the strategy. Now, you will either admit that in context, you left out the second part, or you just didn't know the second part, that in not being able to sell consoles, they were forced to take a different route, a route which has now exposed a lot of the gaming hardware industry as this subsidy-based industry that's here to finally accomplish one thing: sell games. If they cannot sell games, then their whole console shtick is absolutely nonsense. And Xbox knew what was going down. Everybody knew what was going down. If you look at everything when it comes down to it, it showed that a lot of this talk about, oh yeah, the console sales and all that is just hogwash. Matt Piscatella was quite aware that, or I guess people were quite aware with Matt Piscatella's data sets when he was always showing, the games that were pretty much doing the best every single, cycle, the games in terms of, oh, this game is doing number one or doing number two. Players are playing this game more than anything else. Everybody knew that Call of Duty was pretty much doing stuff. Everybody knew that EA was doing stuff with their college football and FIFA and NBA. And so all that talk about, oh, console sales was just so that people would just go back and play these exact same games that they were playing before. Xbox basically looked and cut through all the BS and went ahead and purchased one of those big names. Actually, a few of them. Yikes. And now PlayStation is caught holding the bag, and you say Xbox YouTubers are embarrassing themselves. Be fair. Add the context so that we can know what's going on. It's not like PlayStation has imploded yet, but they're doing what they can to push against the grain. I mean, it's not been the most silky methodology. I mean, for you to say this and see that Concord just the past few months got obliterated because it did poorly is also something else in context. Their approach is not the approach that's needed in the gaming industry today. They tried, they got Bungie, but what have they done with Bungie so far? They've had to restructure it and do all these things. Activision is cruise control, baby. That's basically what's going on. So the strategy for Xbox is not really Game Pass, to be honest. It's written right here in front of you. It is to spend Sony out of business. Is Sony going to be able to fight this barrage of money flowing against their entirety of their pillars? We'll see. Maybe. Maybe not. Hey, all we have to do is sit here and watch. So rather than call names, I recommend that you engage with the evidence and the data at hand. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.